When people's plans fall apart, when progress feels invisible, when the world looks at your effort and casually calls it failure, most minds collapse right there. Not because the dream is dead, but because the thought holding it alive is. That is exactly what Thomas Edison refused to let his thinking die first. He wasn't a man who saw neat diagrams or guaranteed outcomes. He saw possibility, raw, unfinished, and uncertain. Where others walked into a dark room and accepted the darkness, Edison imagined light already living there, waiting to be uncovered. That belief wasn't optimism for comfort. It was a disciplined choice to think forward when everything around him pointed backward. Inside his laboratory, failure was relentless. Wires burned, glass cracked, filaments glowed for a heartbeat, then disappeared into darkness. The room filled with smoke, frustration, and the quiet pressure of expectation. Each attempt ended the same way, with silence. To anyone watching, it looked like stagnation, like wasted time, like proof that the goal was unreachable. Hundreds of attempts passed, then thousands. The world labeled it failure. Edison labeled it progress. When a filament failed, he didn't see a dead end. He saw a closed door that no longer needed to be tested. We now know, he would say calmly, that this material will not work. That sentence carried enormous power. It stripped failure of its emotional sting and replaced it with clarity. Every setback narrowed the field. Every disappointment sharpened direction. This was the true power of positive thought. Not denial, not blind hope, but intentional meaning. Edison refused to attach despair to outcomes. He chose to attach learning. He trained his mind the same way he trained his experiments. When exhaustion tried to take over, he chose resolve. When doubt crept in, he answered it with curiosity. When the noise of criticism grew loud, he protected his inner vision even more fiercely. He became the conductor of his own emotional state, turning frustration into focus and repetition into refinement. Positive thought wasn't something Edison waited to feel. It was something he practiced. Night after night, the lab remained alive, not with success, but with persistence, with a belief that progress doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides inside effort that looks pointless to everyone else. And then, one night, the darkness lost. The filament held. A steady glow filled the room, quiet, unwavering, undeniable. Light existed where it never had before. In that moment, history shifted. But the true victory wasn't the bulb. It was the mindset that made that moment inevitable. That light was the final expression of thousands of thoughts chosen correctly. Thoughts that turned failure into feedback. Thoughts that saw steps forward where others saw embarrassment. Thoughts that refused to let temporary darkness rewrite a permanent vision. So, here's your roadmap. When your plans fall apart, don't panic, reframe. When progress feels invisible, don't quit, observe. When the world calls it failure, don't accept the label, extract the lesson. Choose one setback you're facing right now. Ask what it's eliminating, not what it's destroying. Decide consciously to think like Edison did. Because the power of positive thought doesn't just keep you going, it's what eventually turns the light on.